Hello, welcome to a walkthrough game example of Smalltown Tales for a one-player science fiction episode called Neuralcom Nightmares. So you can find that by going to the Game Crafter website for Smalltown Tales and then downloading the free Neuralcom Nightmares. So download that, and then you can go to the Smalltown Tales Tabletopia site, and I'm showing that here. This is an online, so you can do this totally free. Everything I'm telling you about is totally free in advance of the game being released, and the episode. So how would we begin? Let's start looking at the actual episode details themselves. So once you download Neuralcom Nightmares, you'll see a really good, interesting synopsis. This is set in the year 2137, where now brain implants through man-machine interface is actually a chip. And it helps you, the whole motto is to help you keep up with AI. And the whole idea behind this story is that Dr. Dangerous, she just completed this Neuralcom implant, and it's now become the norm that this happens before age 18 months. You get this. Before you start the game, you get to know the characters. So and you get to pick any characters that you want to play in the game, particularly if you're doing solo. And I'm going to go ahead and pick Dr. Dawn, and I'm going to pick probably an ally of hers. I'll say that the mayor, Misha, who has her PhD in intellect classifications. Now, people have classifications that are required for them to do certain jobs. She's just completed doing her 1,000th Neuralcom implant, and she's beginning to have doubts because of what she's seeing happening to some of her patients. And these are some of the places in Smalltown. Smalltown is in the backwaters. It's still a rural town. And, there's people who've died in the cemetery because of implants. The hospital has like a 3-month waiting list for people to get updates to their implant. To make this game really easy for you, quick to play, I have these episodes allow you to curate which cards in the deck you want to have played, and I've already done that and have that in Tabletopia for you. So you can curate this any way you want, and I have authors helping with this effect, and the setup is just a little bit different than the standard game. As you can see, that's covered. And the win conditions for a single player is really not to have too many cards left in your hand, and to avoid busting, and to draw. When you draw that, you want to bring everything together in your story. So you're playing really against yourself and trying to explore a new genre. That's really the value you get out of playing solo. Let's get started with playing the game, and then I can encourage you to download the episode so you can follow along. So this is the board for the deck, and I lost some of my presets, but I'll bring this in for you. Do one right here. So this is the deck that you saw defined in the 22 card deck. Let me put this back in the deck here and shuffle it. And traditionally in the game, you're allowed, and I'll just show you that real quick, when you do your setup in solo mode, you get to pick your opening. You pick your first 4 cards from any of the cards below in this. So what I'll do is I will pick several cards. I don't need to pick all of them, but I'll pick several of them and flip those over. Let's see how do I want to do that. Flip it over. All right. And then I'm going to pick 4 of these cards to start off. Oh, and I see a couple that I definitely want to do. This morally ambiguous event. I want that to be my first opening thing about having to deal with something. I can pick any of these character cards I want to say the character's external conflicts, things that are starting to happen with Dr. Dawn. She's starting to feel that. I want to bank this this one for maybe a secret that's going to be revealed. And let me pick a setting. Oh, definitely the hospital, right? So I'm going to pick like this emotional thing to start everything off. And then the rest of these cards, I'm going to gather those and put those into back into the deck very quickly. So those are back in the deck, and I'll gather these two. So you're kind of learning a little bit how to use Tabletopia if you haven't used it before. It's not bad. It's not the easiest thing to learn the very first time you do it, but as you can see, it has a pretty good feel for like a real a game. So this is going to be my opening hand, and a little bit different than the standard game is I'm going to go ahead and have my open face, because hey, I don't need to hold these in my hand. I can keep these on the table. And this will be my opening story. So I'm going to start off with, and then I get to pick two of the plot map cards. These are cards that help guide your story as you create it. And I think I'm going to go with a fake ally, somebody that Dr. Dawn thinks is her friend, but maybe isn't. So maybe the Misha character she thinks is her friend, but then maybe that person turns on her and reports her, and she gets deactivated or something. And then I like the self-revelation idea that she thinks that everything is great, but then she transforms and starts to learn something new. That's a really good plot map to help guide your storyline. So I'm going to create these, select these two. So let's get started, and I'm going to select these three cards right here for my first story, for my first opening scene, and I'm going to zoom in on that so you can see what they say, because it may help you understand. The baby is screaming, and the little baby Jenny is rejecting the implant that Dr. Dawn just put in yesterday, and it's bringing Dr. Dawn to tears to see the little baby. She may die. The pain is unbelievable, because this NC-17 chip that she just put in, may have a malfunction, and she's wondering, should I let this baby go through this, or should I just deactivate the chip, which is against the law? If she does that, she could lose her license, and the last person known to do that faced the death penalty. So she doesn't want to lose her practice, but she can't. She's really struggling. And the mother comes in and says, "Can't you do something for my baby, Dawn? Please, doctor, can't you help her?" And she goes, "Look, my hands are tied. I can't. Your baby just isn't accepting this chip right now." And so, if I were really writing this out, I would write some of these storylines, these plots out in bullet comment. And the cool thing about doing it this way as a solo, I can take as long as I want to just allow my imagination to run here. And so in the hospital, there are certain paging things that are going off in her mind. There's no longer as much audio. It goes directly into everybody who has an implant. Dr. Dawn, you're needed in emergency room 74. That kind of thing can happen right in her mind, and she gets that message, and she can acknowledge it. All right, I'll be there in a few moments. So immediately in my first scene, Dr. Dawn says, "Look, I know you don't have an implant." She's talking to the mother, "and I know you were trying to give your baby a thing, but I'll see what I can do." She kind of pushes her off, and then says, "I have to go. There's an emergency that I have to attend to." So that's my opening scene. of the Neuralcom. So what you do is you basically take these cards and those go into your discard pile, right? And I'll move this into my discard pile. All right, I'm going to flip it over because I don't want to see those. And I can decide I want to keep this card in my hand or in my bank, my pool. I'm going to pull this because I may want to use it later. So I'm going to put my pool over here, and then my hand I'm going to get here. Now I get to draw cards. I can draw as many as I want as long as I don't bust. And if you read the rules, busting is getting 3 of the same kind. Okay, so I've got 2. I can draw from here. So rather than bust, I think I'm going to go ahead and take this card. And then I'm going to do my next scene, which, all right, I know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pick the identity. For my next scene, I'm going to use Mayor Misha here, right? Oops, sorry about that. And let me zoom in on this. So Mayor Misha just got done briefing the city council on the statistics of Smalltown, and she has her intelligence is extremely high with the chip that she has, and that's how she really got the position, which is not really elected, but it's kind of a vote by other intellects of a certain intellectual ID. She came from extremely poor poverty, and her mother was killed in an accident involving someone who didn't have a chip, and so she has this whole vendetta against anybody who doesn't have a chip in their brain, and she's very close-minded and focused on making everyone have these chips and adhering to the ideals. So and her secret really is she is willing to do anything. If she knows about the fact that people are dying because of the rejection, and she's hiding that statistic, but in the long run she feels that that is the best thing. And she's trying to build, she has an opportunity to really advance and retire early if she can achieve certain objectives that the government has given her. So she's very driven based on statistics. So in the new world, your behavior is graded, and AI is constantly looking at the results you get, and that's how you advance in the world. So her identity is really about the status and getting that, and her secret here is about that. So my scene that I'm going to, a bridge here, but I would definitely write about more of an internal monologue. But she really she's a friend of the doctor, so maybe she uses her wireless interface to make a phone call to the doctor through her mind, and the doctor gets says, hey, this is yeah, Dr. Don, what's wrong, Misha? Can I help you? Yeah, I really want to talk to you about the hospital's rating right now. Misha, I am totally overwhelmed. I can't handle this. I'll tell you what, let's meet later today. I'll let you know when I'm done. All right. So that's the second scene. So we've introduced this relationship between Misha and the doctor. And that's going to go here. I'm going to bank this so that I can draw more cards. Okay, good. All right. All right, so those are the 3 cards. I'm probably going to I'm going to keep it settled on these 2 characters for now. And then my third scene, I'll do my third scene. Yeah, I'm going to do that rather than take the chance that I might miss, I might bust. Busting would be getting another character card from the deck. So let me do this. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Dr. Dawn says, hey, she calls her back and through her mind, through the Neuralcom link, and says, hey, meet me at the hospital a little bit later today. Gives her the time, and Misha says, okay, I'll be there. So they get together, and Misha is really wants to improve the wait time in the hospital. It's now like several weeks to get an update to your chip, and she wants to talk to her about that. But really, Dr. Dawn is just terrified that this little baby is really going to die. It's the second baby that's died in 4 operations, and the statistics on that are bad, and she feels that this latest chip that she just got, the whole lot, that could be bad because the baby died, the second baby died when she implanted it and was rejected, and it acts exactly like this one. So she's really terrified because if this story gets out that she did it, then it could impact her intellectual rating, and she could lose her job and her goal of retiring early. They could farm her out to any number of jobs where she would be working in a much worse environment. So they meet, they talk about, Misha confronts her, hey Dawn, I know you're busy, but I wanted to talk to you about your statistics, and she says, I've got a baby who's about going to die here. I have to tell you this. This baby is the second baby this week that has the same lot number as the chip, and it looks like it's malfunctioning. I haven't reported this because I'm afraid that if I do, it's going to reflect bad on me and not the chip manufacturer. So they talk about that, and Misha says, look, I'll help you through this. But really, she isn't. She's taking notes through her virtual mind pad, and she's able to collect this data. She asks her, show me the data. And so she sees the data, and she starts to collect that data. And in the meantime, Dr. Dawn is starting to realize that her whole life is really misguided, that this idea of the chip is not what she originally thought it was when she was a child and got hers at age. She got hers later in life, like at 2 years old instead of 8, or 2.5 instead of 18 months. But she was very smart, and that's why they let her get it at that older age. So that's what's going on in scene 3. Right? So that's going on. I could be writing this down. I could be talking it just like I'm talking it right now and recording it as an author or a writer. I'm exploring these different ideas. So let me draw. Let's go to scene 4, and I'll stop the video. But you typically go up to 6 scenes here. And I'm going to go ahead and draw another card here. Okay, the city park. Whoops, city park. And let's look at this. Like this. I'm gonna tell the story based on this. So yeah, let's do this. Can't wait to tell this part of the story. My scene 4. So Misha leaves after collecting a lot of information unbeknownst to Dr. Dawn, and Dr. Dawn is just like mentally through. She's been working, this is like her 12th hour, and her chip is telling her you have to go down, your mental acuity is starting to drop. So she decides to go to the place that she really finds as a refuge. It's the city park. And because of the trees and the grass, she loves just taking off her shoes and feeling what green grass actually feels like. And it's only 90 degrees today. And so she loves, it just feels really comfortable compared to the 120 degrees that it has been. And she just loves the feeling of the grass but she knows that she can't continue to go on this way. That little babe, she knows that if she reports it, it could end her career. But she's hoping that Misha sees this data and will be her ally to help her do this when she reports it to the Neuralcom medical continuum. And so as she leaves, she has this feeling in her mind, what she's going to do. And she's wondering if she should deactivate the child's thing. The mother keeps trying to contact her through a Neuralcom communication link, and she finally takes it. She disrupts her relaxation at the park and says, "Hello, Mrs. Camber. I have an idea of how I can help your baby. Be at the hospital tomorrow really early. I'll get there at 5 o'clock before the rest of the staff does, and we'll talk about it." Her intentions are, so now that sets the stage. It's a hint at a possible outcome that would happen in the next scene 5. So you can see I'm into, and I may bank this because I don't really want to talk about quirks at this time. I've got 2 more scenes to end my story. You can see I'm well into that. I've already got the she's starting to, Dr. Dawn, the fake ally being Misha, the mayor, who's collecting that information. The conflict that's coming by deactivating the baby's chip. In my mind, I can start to think about how Misha would find that out and what the doctor does to overcome that challenge. So I think you're getting an idea of how this game plays solo, right? For different types of episodes, and as a writer, storyteller, just an avid reader of a certain genre, you can see how this Smalltown Tales really helps you explore a genre, even playing solo. Look for a crowd sale on September the 7th, 2024. And if you'd like to learn anything about this game or others, visit our website at schwartzgames.com. Thank you.